Welcome to the Depth Dive, the show really engineered to cut through all that digital stuff and get you straight to the insights that truly matter. Let's be honest, in today's world, we're all just swimming in this ocean of information, aren't we?
Oh, absolutely.
Your phone pings constantly, headlines are screaming for your attention, data just flows endlessly. It feels less like a stream and more like a tsunami sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
The big question is, how on earth do we sort through all that to find what's genuinely important, what actually counts? That's really our mission today. We're taking a deep dive into a critical skill for navigating this information age, the ability to distinguish signal from noise.
Yeah, a vital skill.
And our goal is to give you a genuine shortcut to being, incredibly well informed on this vital concept. We'll be pulling powerful insights from some maybe unexpected places, including Nassim Taleb's really impactful book, Skin in the Game.
Right. And just to make sure we're all on the same page from the start, let's define our terms clearly.
Good idea.
When we talk about signal, we mean the meaningful, the reliable information. It's the data that truly reveals genuine patterns, trends, or insights that you can confidently act upon. Think of it as the clear message you actually need to hear. Conversely, noise is, it's the exact opposite. It's the random fluctuations, the unwanted variation, those false patterns that look real, or just plain clutter. And while noise can often appear meaningful, at first glance, it never really leads to genuine insight or effective action. It's just static, pure distraction.
That radio analogy really nails it, doesn't it?
It does. It's a classic for a reason.
Imagine trying to tune into your favorite song. The music itself, that clear, crisp melody, that's your signal.
Mm-hmm.
But all that crackling, that popping, the hiss in the background, that's the noise.
Yeah.
Our constant challenge, whether it's in life, work, or just trying to understand the news, is to maximize that signal to noise ratio.
Right. Hear more song, less static.
Exactly. Hear more of the song and less of the static. So over the next few minutes, we'll go beyond these core definitions. We're going to plunge into Nassim Taleb's unique and, often provocative perspective.
Definitely provocative.
Then we'll unearth some practical principles for discernment that you can apply immediately, things you can actually use.
Yeah.
And finally, we'll discuss why this isn't just a good skill to have, but why it's a crucial imperative, especially for anyone in a leadership role.
And our promise to you, the listener, is that by the end of this discussion, you'll not only gain a deep understanding of this topic quickly, thoroughly, but you'll also hopefully experience those aha moments, those moments that make complex ideas suddenly click. And most importantly, you should walk away feeling less overwhelmed by information overload and far more equipped to make impactful, consequence-driven decisions.
Okay, let's really lean into this then. A core pillar of our discussion today comes from Nassim Taleb's, profound book, Skin in the Game.
It really is profound. Challenges a lot.
It really does. It challenges so many of our assumptions about risk, accountability, even expertise. So tell us, what is Taleb's central thesis here? Why is it so foundational to how he sees the world?
Well, Taleb's central thesis is incredibly powerful and pretty simple at its core. He argues that having a shared risk when making a major decision is absolutely essential for almost everything.
Shared risk.
Yeah. He sees it as fundamental for ensuring fairness, driving commercial efficiency, managing risk effectively, and even for truly understanding how the world actually works, not just how we think it works.
Okay.
When he talks about skin in the game, he just means the amount of risk or vested interest someone has in an outcome. The more you personally stand to lose.
The more skin you have.
Exactly. The more skin you have. His overarching message is pretty stark. Unless you have skin in the game, don't get involved.
Wow. Okay, that immediately sparks a question for me. How does this fundamental idea, skin in the game, how does that directly relate to our topic today of distinguishing signal from noise?
Great question.
Is it as simple as asking, does this information have real teeth, real consequences?
Precisely. You've hit it. This connection brings us to what we can maybe call the consequence principle, or, the skin in the game principle for signal.
Okay.
The idea is pretty clear-cut. Information that is capable of materially affecting outcomes is signal. Stuff that really matters. While harmless chatter, stuff that doesn't change anything, that's noise.
Makes sense.
So if you choose to ignore true signal, it carries a significant risk. Major loss, maybe, or missing out on a huge gain. But if you ignore noise, it has little to no real consequence.
Right.
The stakes involved in the information itself, or crucially, the stakes of the person delivering it, that truly determines its signal value according to Taleb. And the fundamental problem Taleb identifies, the thing that generates so much noise in our world, is a lack of skin in the game.
Mm.
This leads to what he calls asymmetry and missing incentives. This is where individuals or even institutions can get rewards, financial, reputational, whatever, without actually accepting any of the real risks.
Ah, the upside without the downside.
Exactly. They get to make profits and transfer the risks to others, as he puts it. Taleb argues very forcefully that forcing skin in the game corrects this asymmetry better than thousands of laws and regulations. It's a self-correcting mechanism.
So it's essentially a kind of free ride for some people, but at the expense of others. And that insulation from the actual risk, that's what distorts the very signal they produce.
That's the argument, yes. Because they aren't truly invested in the real-world outcome. Their incentives are misaligned.
Right.
And therefore, their pronouncements, their advice, their predictions, they're just much more likely to be noise, not reliable signal.
Okay, let's look at some examples. He gives some pretty concrete ones, doesn't he?
He does. They really help drive this home. One of his most striking critiques is what he calls a Bob Rubin trade.
Ooh, the Bob Rubin trade.
Okay. Yeah, this refers to individuals like Raleigh Rubin.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Rubin was a highly paid director and senior advisor at Citigroup. But Taleb points out he faced no personal financial penalty, even as Citigroup needed massive taxpayer bailouts in 2008.
Ah, right. I remember that.
So this illustrates a scenario where there was immense upside gain, huge bonuses and salaries, with essentially limited or no downside risk for the individual making key decisions. For Taleb, this person's advice or statements, because they lack that personal consequence.
And we're fundamentally less reliable.
Noise.
Essentially noise.
Exactly.
Here.
From his perspective. Another powerful example Taleb uses are war hawks.
Okay.
These are individuals who fervently advocate for military conflict, often, from the comfort of an office or a TV studio.
Right, without being anywhere near the front line.
Precisely. Without personally bearing the immense risks of dying or being wounded in that conflict, they impose enormous, life-altering risks on others without sharing them. So in Taleb's view, their pronouncements, no matter how eloquent or patriotic they sound, become more akin to noise rather than informed, responsible signal, because the ultimate price isn't paid by them.
So if some information, some advice comes from those without this skin in the game, that immediately makes us question its reliability, its signal value.
Yes.
Which raises a really important question about who we should be listening to, or maybe more accurately, who we should filter out.
And this leads us directly to Taleb's rather provocative and, let's be honest, often controversial concept of the intellectual yet idiot, or the IYI.
The IYI. Okay, that's a memorable term. What does he mean by that?
He describes them as semi-intelligent, well-pedigreed individuals. Think policymakers, certain academics, journalists, pundits, people who often exert an overwhelming impact on the vast majority through their policies, their commentary, their influence.
That's a pretty strong indictment. So it's not just about raw intelligence, is it? It's about a fundamental disconnect from real-world consequences.
That's exactly it.
Almost like they're playing a game, maybe a theoretical game, without understanding the actual stakes on the field.
Precisely. Their advice frequently lacks practical, hands-on understanding and, crucially, accountability for the real-world consequences. So from Taleb's perspective, their pronouncements are often pure noise because they don't have personal consequences tied to their recommendations.
Yeah.
They're insulated. He suggests they pathologize others for doing things he doesn't understand without ever realizing it is his understanding that may be limited.
Wow.
And he famously states, you can be an intellectual yet still be an idiot. He points to educated Philistines being wrong on, well, everything from Stalinism to Iraq to low-carb diets, big historical mistakes driven by people insulated from the outcomes. What's fascinating here, and really central to his ethics, is that Taleb fundamentally argues that the morality of your actions should be judged by their outcomes, not your intention.
Outcomes, not intentions. That's huge.
It is. If you take risks that you don't understand, he calls you a fool. And fools, he says, tend to get eliminated naturally by systems over time. Reality catches up.
Okay.
But if you deliberately transfer your risks onto others, knowing the potential harm, then you are, in his pretty blunt words, a crook.
Wow. Fool or crook, not much middle ground there.
Not in this framework, no. His stance is clear. Unless you have skin in the game, don't get involved. Don't make decisions for others if you don't share the consequences.
Right.
It's why he actually prefers the silver rule. Do not treat others the way you would not like them to treat you, over the perhaps more common golden rule.
Interesting. Why the preference?
Because the silver rule focuses on doing no harm, which Taleb argues is far easier to define and enact.
Hmm.
We generally know what harms us. Knowing what's truly good for everyone else,
Yeah.
that's much harder, much more complex, and potentially arrogant.
Yeah.
So focus on avoiding the negative consequences first.
So rather than aspire to do good, which is complex, focus on doing no harm and ensure you're in the game. If you're giving advice or making big decisions, that really clarifies the stakes involved.
It does.
And on the idea of what endures, what lasts, Taleb also touches on something called the Lindy Effect. How does that fit into this whole picture of signal and noise?
The Lindy Effect, yeah.
Yeah.
It's another fascinating concept.
Yeah.
Basically, it states that for certain non-perishable things, think ideas, technologies, maybe institutions, their future life expectancy is proportional to their current age.
Meaning the longer something's been around.
The longer it's likely to stick around, yeah. In the context of signal versus noise and skin in the game, it implies that time itself is the ultimate filter, the best judge. Robust ideas, useful technologies, effective institutions, they survive and often grow stronger with time precisely because they have had skin in the game across generations. They've been tested by reality, they've endured consequences, they've adapted.
Right. They've proven their worth through survival.
Exactly. Things that are pure noise fads, unsustainable ideas, flawed models, they simply don't last. Time weeds them out. Lindy proves it.
That makes so much sense. Time is the ultimate truth serum. Okay, so Taleb gives us this really powerful lens through skin in the game, a way to assess the source.
Yeah, critical one.
But what about all the other types of information we encounter daily, where maybe the direct consequences, the skin in the game aspect isn't immediately obvious? Are there other practical filters we can apply?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And these principles are vital tools for any learner, really, for anyone trying to navigate this information overload, whether it's for work, personal decisions, or just trying to stay informed without going crazy.
Okay, let's hear them.
First, there's the time horizon principle. This is a big one. Noise almost always dominates in the short term. It's loud, it's urgent, true signal. The real underlying trend only emerges when you zoom out, when you look at the bigger picture over time.
Got an example?
Sure. Think about daily, even hour-by-hour movements of a stock price. That's usually just noise, right?
Yeah.
Chaotic reflection of momentary sentiment, algorithms trading, news headlines.
Yeah, pure static.
But the multi-year earnings growth and the fundamental performance of the company, that's the real signal about its underlying health and long-term prospects.
Okay, so zoom out. A lot of the immediate urgency we feel is often just that short-term static.
It often is. It makes you rethink checking your phone every 5 minutes, doesn't it?
It really does. Okay, what's next?
Second is the consistency and persistence principle. Basically, signal tends to repeat reliably across different contexts over time through multiple independent samples. Noise, on the other hand, is erratic, it's random, it doesn't persist.
So look for patterns.
Exactly. Consistent patterns. Think of it this way. One solitary negative online review for a product may be buried among hundreds of positive ones. That's probably just noise. An outlier, someone having a bad day. But if you start seeing hundreds of similar complaints, all pointing to the same specific issue, say a persistent software bug or a common manufacturing defect, that's definitely a signal. That's persistence telling you something real. Third, we have the source quality principle. This connects back a bit to Taleb, but it's broader, stronger, more accountable, more credible sources significantly increase the chance you're getting signal.
And weaker sources.
Weak, biased, anonymous, or unaccountable sources, they tend to amplify noise. Think about official SEC filings about a publicly traded company. That's usually strong signal, backed by regulation.
Okay.
Random influencer hype on social media about the same company, almost always noise, however convincing or loud it might seem. There's often no accountability, no real skin in the game.
That's a crucial distinction, especially today with information or misinformation flowing from so many unverified places.
It's more important than ever. And finally, the actionability principle. This is very practical. Signal inherently drives clear, concrete action. It changes what you do. Noise, conversely, merely fills your head. It might make you feel busy or informed, but it doesn't lead to any clear, actionable steps. It doesn't change your behavior.
Example.
Getting your blood test results back from the doctor, which then lead to a clear change in your treatment plan or your diet that's a powerful signal, it leads to action.
Right. Makes sense.
Reading dozens of random conflicting health articles online that don't actually change anything you do, don't lead to a specific action. That's probably just noise filling your time.
This is a fantastic toolkit, seriously. Different lenses, time, consistency, source, actionability to filter information. What's a simple rule of thumb, though? Something easy to remember to tie all this together, just to quickly calibrate our minds.
Yeah, a quick heuristic. Here's a memorable one that I find incredibly useful myself. Noise shouts. Signal whispers.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. Noise feels urgent, demands your immediate attention, but then it disappears quickly. Signal is subtle, it's steady, and often quite boring. But if you listen, it's what truly changes the game.
Noise shouts, signal whispers. Okay.
And maybe here's a quick mental checklist you can run through when you're faced with a new piece of information, a news report, an email, whatever.
Yeah.
Just quickly ask yourself these 5 things. 1,
Yeah.
will this truly matter in, say, 6, 12 months? Maybe even longer. That's your time horizon check.
Okay.
2, does this repeat? Am I seeing this across multiple independent sources or observations?
Yeah.
That's consistency.
Right.
3, what actually happens if I simply ignore it? What are the real consequences? That's your consequence, your skin in the game check. 4, is the source reliable? Are they credible? Are they accountable for what they're saying? Source quality.
Got it.
And 5, does it genuinely change my next step, my decision, my actions? That's actionability.
Okay.
If most of your answers are yes, chances are you found a powerful signal. If most are no, well, you're probably better off classifying it as noise and, importantly, moving on. Don't waste energy on it.
That's incredibly practical. Thank you. So all of this thinking, these principles, it brings us to the practical application. What are the real-world implications for making impactful decisions, especially for leaders? This isn't just an academic exercise, is it? It feels vital.
Oh, far from it. It's incredibly vital. Distinguishing signal from noise isn't just some abstract concept. It's a critical performance discipline for leaders. It's a core competency.
A performance discipline.
Yeah. It's not optional, not if you want to be effective. It's absolutely fundamental to good decision-making, to setting strategic direction, and ultimately to achieving success.
I'm thinking about someone like Steve Jobs again. He was, well, legendary for his laser-like focus. How does his approach kind of embody this idea?
Yeah, Steve Jobs' approach really epitomizes this kind of signal discernment. He was obsessively focused on what he considered the signal, which for Apple typically meant the top, say, 3 to 5 critical priorities at any given time. That was it.
Just 3 to 5 things.
That was the focus. And he would then ruthlessly block out, as people described it, what he considered the noise, all the distractions, the low-value tasks, the endless meetings, the things that didn't directly align with those core signals.
Right.
His famous belief, and it's a powerful one, was if everything is important, then nothing is. It was about fierce, brutal prioritization of the true signal.
It sounds so simple when you put it like that. Focus on what matters. Yet, so many modern leaders, and I'd include myself here sometimes, really struggle to focus on signal. It feels like we're constantly overwhelmed, just reacting to every incoming ping, every email. Why is it so hard to actually put these principles into practice?
You're absolutely right. It's a profound challenge in our hyper-connected world. Several factors really contribute, I think.
Okay.
First, just the sheer volume. The information and notification overload we all face daily is unprecedented. It's a constant barrage. Then there's the pervasive, always-on, always-available culture. It pushes leaders into this reactive state, constantly putting out small fires instead of strategically steering the ship towards the horizon.
Fighting fires, not navigating.
Yeah, exactly. We also see rampant complexity and scope creep in many organizations. Urgent, but ultimately less important, issues consistently hijack focus from the truly strategic high-impact work. The signal gets lost in the weeds.
Right. The urgent drives out the important.
Precisely. And let's not forget the seduction of busy, important trap. And what some call performative busyness, where just looking busy, being in back-to-back meetings, is mistakenly equated with actual productivity or impact.
Guilty as charged sometimes.
I think we all are.
Yeah.
And finally, and this is maybe a subtle one, there's often an emotional comfort in noise. Tackling the really challenging signal work, making those big, important, high-consequence decisions, requires courage, deep thinking, and emotional resilience. That can be draining. It's often easier, more comfortable to stay busy with the noise, with the lower-stakes tasks, than to face the big, scary, important stuff.
I really resonate with that emotional comfort in noise. It is easier to feel productive by clearing emails than to sit with a truly difficult, high-stakes strategic decision.
It absolutely is.
So, okay, recognizing these challenges, what practical habits can listeners cultivate? What can you do to become better at this, to truly hone your signal-finding abilities day to day?
Well, it really starts with consistently defining your North Star, what truly matters most. identifying your vital few priorities, the real signal for you or your team.
Okay, clarity first.
Clarity first. Then ruthless prioritization becomes key. You have to be willing and able to say no much more often to the noise, to the distractions.
Good part.
Definitely the hard part. Leverage your unique value. Focus your energy on the things that only you can do, the highest impact activities. Delegate or eliminate the rest. Schedule dedicated signal time into your calendar blocks of time for deep, uninterrupted work on those highest priorities. Protect that time fiercely.
Like appointments with yourself.
Exactly. Treat it like your most important meeting. And importantly, build in regular reflection and recalibration. Step back periodically, maybe weekly or monthly, to ensure you're still chasing the right signals and haven't gotten pulled off course by the noise again. Course correct is needed.
Wow, what an illuminating deep dive this has been. We've covered so much ground today. Signal is that clear, meaningful information you can actually act on, while noise is all the clutter, the static that distracts us. Nassim Taleb's Skin in the Game gives us that powerful, maybe uncomfortable reminder to trust those who have real consequences tied to their words and actions. Skin in the game is the ultimate filter for reliability.
A tough but useful filter.
Definitely. And those practical principles, thinking about time horizon, looking for consistency, checking source quality, demanding actionability, these are our indispensable tools to cut through the static in our daily lives.
And just remember, this isn't just some abstract concept or, a theoretical framework to admire. It's a critical, actionable skill. A practical discipline for navigating our incredibly complex world, for making truly impactful decisions, and for leading effectively, whether that's in your personal life, your team, or your entire organization. It matters everywhere.
So as you go about your day, perhaps grappling with your own information streams, here's a final provocative thought for you to consider. If you could only focus on, say, 3 pieces of information in the next 24 hours that truly have skin in the game for you, real consequences, real impact, what would they be?
Good question.
And maybe just as importantly, what noise would you have to ruthlessly block out to actually get there?